Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor, no, it is a privilege for me to bring you this battle. A battle of all battles. 4 controllers, 4 possible outcomes. 1 extremely handsome announcer.
Boy, you ugly as hell.
I mean, 1 winner to carry the title of Best Wireless Controller under $50. Let's get started. What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Mike Fury, and I make informative videos just like this one. So please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And quick disclaimer, I bought all of these controllers with my own money. I am not sponsored. This is an ad. This is directly out of pocket. So please enjoy the video and understand that this is directly my opinion of each and every single controller and which one you guys should buy. And with that being said, let's take a look at the 4 contestants, shall we? In the red corner, we have the Power A enhanced wireless controller sporting this Mewtwo and Pikachu aesthetic. Wait, Mewtwo and Pikachu? Last time you guys were together, Ash got the worst of it. My mental health still hasn't recovered. Get off the controller!
Ash, wait! You gotta stop right now!
In the blue corner, we have the Ori Pad by Ori, or Horai, or as I like to say it, Horizon, because that sounds extremely better. Oh my god, that just sounds ridiculous. Point is, it is rocking the black and gold aesthetic with the Zelda emblem on it, looking extremely clean.
No, what it looks like is an Xbox controller.
In the yellow corner, we have the Pdp Prismatic Deluxe, showing off all the goods before the date. The wires, the circuitry, the lights. That's what I'm talking about. And finally, in the green corner, we have the 8-Bit Dough Pro 2, sporting the cool gray colorway. My sneakerheads know exactly what I'm talking about. And those are our 4 contestants. Now, let's go ahead and talk about their similarities before we get down to the very important details. Now, all of these controllers are all under $50. All of them are lightweight. For example, they all weigh less than 2 large eggs in your hands. In other words, they all weigh less than 2 pounds. Each and every single one of these controllers uses a variety of different plastics and rubbers for their materials. Each controller uses Bluetooth. None of them have NFC, and all of them have motion controls for games like ARMS, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon, Mario Kart, and a bunch of others. Now that we understand all of the things that these controllers share, let's talk about the details. Let's talk about the important bits. Let's talk about what makes these controllers special right after these messages. Hold up a second. We don't have an ad. What do you mean we don't have an ad? What am I supposed to tell them? Patreon? What the hell's a Patreon? $1 that keeps the landlord away? That sounds catchy. Who created that? Me? Damn, I'm good. Okay, fine, I'll tell them. Check out my Patreon down in the description below. $1 that keeps the landlord away. And with that being said, right back to our broadcast. Now on to the important details. Battery life, recharge time, button layout, and button feedback. Now, the Ori Pad starts off with around 20 hours, 8-Bit Dough around 20 hours, Power A 30 hours, and the PDP or the Prismatic Deluxe at 40 hours. Now, recharge time tells a completely different story. The 8-Bit Dough takes around 3 hours and 40 minutes-ish. You know, there's a couple seconds there that I just didn't want to count. Around 3 hours and 40 minutes of recharge time from 0 to 100. PDP is roughly around 3 hours. Again, it was like 3 hours and 2 hours and like 58 minutes more or less. Ori Pad, 2 hours. Also granted that the Ori Pad does have the least amount of battery life in this case. And finally, the Power A takes around 3 seconds because it does not have a built-in battery. It actually has AA battery. So it takes around 3 seconds, 3 to 5, maybe even 10 seconds to hot swap those bad boys and get another 30 hours in. Now, 2 things we're looking for when it comes to button layout and button feedback. We're looking for how good, how clicky they are, what type of travel do they have, and finally, the layout itself. How close is it to the traditional dock switch, the ones with the actual Joy-Cons? How close is it to this layout? Or how close is it to the wireless Pro controller of the same Switch? The Ori Pad is the most inconsistent out of the bunch, sadly, because the actual layout is fine. As you can see, you have the home button and select button right here. You have the top buttons are the minus and plus, just like how it is on the Switch when it's either in with the Joy-Cons or with the wireless Pro controller. The layout is fine. The buttons are the problem. They have this sticky quality to them and they sound cheap. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'll probably have a better audio sample for you guys so you guys could actually hear them. But they just sound like they stick to the actual base of the Switch itself. And the triggers just leave a lot to be desired. I really despise this half click type of trigger. It really pisses me off. The Power A is a slightly different story. Again, layout is perfectly fine. Minus plus buttons up top, start select button in the middle, and then you have your usual A, B, X, Y. You guys already know the deal. But again, triggers with half presses suck. Let me say that. They suck. Also, this has the smallest D-pad in all of Narnia. I apologize. In all of Nintendo, all of these controllers at least, this has the smallest D-pad. So this might be great for small hands, but I got pretty big hands and it makes it a little bit harder for me to press certain buttons. Now the PDP, awesome buttons. I love the way they feel. Love the way they feel. Again, half clicks on the triggers, but these feel a little bit more responsive than the others. But again, I'm not a fan of half switches. I've been playing Xbox my whole entire life. I like the full button press, that it actually sinks into the actual controller. It feels like you're pulling a trigger. I like the controller itself. And it does bring a couple new things to the actual equation, but it does do a couple other things. Like, for example, the layout itself isn't exactly right. They grabbed the minus and the plus and switched places, and the actual distance between the certain buttons actually make it a little tiny bit harder, and it takes a little bit of time getting used to. But for the most part, again, rather small D-pad, but the actual form factor of the controller is actually smaller than all the other ones too. So definitely there are a couple of differences, but it's not gonna make or break the controller for you. And we're gonna talk more about these bad boys later. And finally, 8-Bit Pro. Again, you hear that? That's what you call a full switch. That is a full trigger press, not like those that have actual half presses. Now also keep in mind, this is a retro style controller, so the layout isn't going to be absolutely perfect, and actually that's one of its big faults. The fact that they grabbed what would be the plus and minus buttons that would go up here and they moved them down to the corner. So they decided, hey, the layout, whatever. And more on why exactly they did that later, but yes, the layout for what would be the plus and minus buttons of the Switch would be right down here. Now let's move on to what makes each and every single one of these controllers special, or it's something that they really excel at. Let's start off with this bad boy, the Power A. Now the Power A not only comes in all different types of flavors and different types of styles and designs, but it comes with 3 different models. Now, the 3 different models is, they have this in a more compact size. So this isn't the biggest controller, but it would be something closer probably to this. This is slightly smaller than this. It would probably be something closer to the Pdp Prismatic. So they have a compact. They have this one, which is the AA battery one that you can swap them out. And they have the other version, which is the rechargeable version that comes with a wired plug-in with a USB-C or a micro USB. I haven't been able to try that. I haven't gotten that one on my hands, but I'm using this one for a specific reason, because that is a pro. The fact that you can just swap out AA batteries or buy AA batteries, that is a pro. Having that 3 to 10 second basically replay time and not having to wait till something to charge and things of that nature, that is a pro. On top of that, not only does it have those different styles, it has those 3 different models, but also has programmable Pro buttons in the back. Ori Pad also comes with a couple of different designs. It does feel lightweight, and one of its pros by far is the fact that it feels like an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One controller. Now, a lot of people might say, hey, why is that a pro? You wanna know why? Because the Xbox 360 and Xbox One controllers are probably some of the best controllers of all time. That is my personal opinion, and this is my video, so therefore it is a pro for me. Let that mileage may vary. Whoever you are, if you feel like that's not a pro, then that's not a pro, and obviously we differ on that point. But Comes in different designs. It feels like an Xbox 360 controller, just, you know, on Weight Watchers, because it's super light and doesn't have the heft of this. But yeah, definitely. Oh, and also has wired options. Before I forget, wired options, so just in case it runs out, you can connect it. Do keep in mind, I will talk about a really big dislike that I have with this controller because of the wired design, but you can always use it wirely as well. Wiredly. The Prismatic has lights. It has RGB, like I mentioned, has RGB, has paddles. Instead of programmable buttons, has paddles, which is definitely a plus, and sports the biggest battery in the community, and you can use it wiredly as well. I'm definitely gonna quote the term wiredly. But at this point in time, this is when the 8-Bit Do Pro just starts showing off. Number one, multi-platform. That's a big one. Multi-platform. So I could use this on the PC, I could use this on my phone, on an Android, I could use this on Mac OS, I can use this even on the Raspberry Pi. This phone gets busy. Not only that, you have programmable Pro buttons in the back. You have full triggers. And these are the two killer features. Like this feature right here is the bomb. This, a removable, rechargeable battery pack. We're gonna get into another dislike of mine later on, but just know this is how you do it. Reprogrammable, rechargeable, removable, just in case it ever goes faulty, battery. That is dope. Not only that, there is an app on PC that you can use and create your own profiles, which you can hit by a switch of a button. You could also switch manually for certain different systems on the back as well. These are the types of features that make or break a controller. This brings them all. I absolutely love this controller. But the haymaker, the feature that is the most important, depending on who you ask, but for me, this controller has rumble. None of the other controllers have rumble at the same price. So important. So coming off of that rumble talk, let's go right into the negatives. Yes, none of the other controllers besides the 8-Bit Do has rumble. But keep in mind, PowerA doesn't have a wired option. Let's just say what it is. Doesn't have a wired option. You can't connect this wirely if you're out of batteries, and on top of that, if you're out of batteries, you won't be able to play. But also, if you do have to make an extra investment in other rechargeable AA batteries if you so desire, or just keep on buying battery packs if you want to do it like that as well, which is another investment depending on which way you want to go there. 20 bucks, or maybe another 20, 40, 60 down the line, depending on how many batteries you buy. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I always go with the rechargeable variant, which would be an extra $20 depending on where you buy it. On Amazon or on Best Buy, you could definitely find rechargeable AA batteries that come with a rechargeable pack for you to put inside your outlet. So definitely that's there. It is a negative. Now a lot of people would say, hey, what about the rechargeable variant? Yes, but do keep in mind that one of the pros of this controller is the fact that it has a 10-second hot battery swap. The other controllers don't do that. Do keep in mind, this one takes AA batteries as well. I forgot to mention that earlier, but this is one of the, yes, 10 seconds is still hot swappable. That is a pro. Now, if I go ahead and talk about the rechargeable variant, now we get into, I can't remove it. I can only go with a certain amount of time, and it will literally degrade due to use. That is a thing with all things, all technology with rechargeable batteries. Anything with a rechargeable battery that's unremovable, they will eventually die. That is a negative on all of the controllers that don't have removable batteries. Sadly, that doesn't apply to this one. You can't have one without the other. Ori Pad is the worst out of the bunch. Not only does it have the weakest battery life of the bunch, not only does it not have Pro buttons on the back, but on top of everything, look at the tiny charger that they give us. How am I supposed to play wiredly or wired with this? Like, am I supposed to be hugged up on the screen? The switch is right there, and I'm literally on top, like, yeah, this is definitely the best way to play Switch. No, come on, you guys. Like, this is unacceptable. This is not even a... If I pull out my ruler is longer than this. I was gonna say something else, but hey, this is a kid's show. The 8-Bit Do doesn't escape my wrath. Why? Because they don't sell the actual battery. They don't sell it. Like, I can't buy a bulk of these and just have them there hot swappable, which is like mind-blowing to me. How is it that you guys haven't invented like a base to charge 4 of these bad boys or something along those lines? That is a lack of vision, or just, I don't know, product management. I don't know, but it's just lack of just foresight of what people would want to do having multiple batteries and hot swappable. Yes, I understand that you can use AA battery, but that is not acceptable to not be able to buy a replaceable one for this controller. And the weird button layout, which is, again, it's a big thing, but keep in mind it will take some getting used to. Finally, the PDP. Yes, it is an excellent controller. Does it have a weird button layout? Yes, it does. Does it have lights? Yes, it does. But here is my issue. This is my main issue right here. Paddles, awesome, great idea. The reason why I hate this, it comes off. It comes off. You mean to tell me that I can see where you guys put your battery, but I can't remove it? Yo, like things like this, like little things like this just piss me off about companies to no end. Why? Why can I see the actual battery and not take it out? And on top of that, you tease me with this silliness. Like, ain't nobody gonna use this controller like this. Why would I want to use it with these? No, put the thing back on. And then it does a nice click and it's satisfying. And the paddles are great too. But why? Why? That's such a weird thing to do. Jesus. So it comes down to these two. These two beasts. And depending on who you ask, they are both excellent. They are both great controllers, but you're gonna land on one side of the fence or the other. This is about versatility against performance. This is about rumble against 40 hours of battery life. This is about functionality, or in other words, going around and just playing on every single system you could possibly find, or really cool paddles and lights. This is what it's about. Performance, even though paddles aren't really performance, but the paddles do feel better than the actual buttons, I will say that. Performance versus versatility. Battery life and paddles versus rumble and hot swappable battery. Rumble, young man, rumble. I'm going with the 8-Bit Dough Pro 2. It has a lot of amazing features, and in reality, being honest, it wins by the slightest of margins. If this controller would have had the swappable battery, it would have made it interesting. I don't know what I would have picked, because I still love this controller. I don't know what I would have picked. It would have made it extremely interesting. It would have made it a crazy proposition, and if they would have had these batteries available. But sadly, it loses by the slightest of margins. But keep in mind, I'm only talking about functionality, or in other words, versatility and performance. This, the Power A, kills everything in terms of aesthetic. This clicks off more boxes than a lot of people. A lot of people just want a very nice controller that's going to get the job done and look amazing on a desk. So in terms of aesthetic, this beats everything. So you have aesthetic, the Power A, versatility, the 8-Bit Dough, and finally, performance, the Prismatic Deluxe. We could all agree on one thing though. It all depends on who you are. We could agree on either one of those 3 controllers. I'm going with King of Versatility. We could all agree on just one single thing. Don't buy the Ori Pad. Not saying that the Ori Pad is a bad controller, but just in comparison to everything else on this table, Ori Pad just leaves a lot to be desired. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the jokes. I helped you guys decide which is the best $50 controller that you could possibly purchase. Do keep in mind, almost all of these go on sale, so you can buy them at around $41, $43, $44, $45. Not all of them stay. I also am aware that there are cheaper controllers, there are cheaper wireless controllers that are $25, $35. I will be making videos on those later on. Do keep in mind, I am not rich. I have to buy all these bad boys, so keep that in mind as well. But definitely, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and make sure to share the video. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links are down in the description below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting me there. $1 a day keeps an eye a little way. I'm your host, Mike Fury. God damn, I just blew a hole in my chest. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike off.